Hi, I'm Todd, the owner of Dakota Angler here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, with this week's 2-minute fishing report. Well, we had a great weekend of weather around southeastern part of the state of South Dakota this past weekend. Up in the northeastern part of the state, a lot of wind, and then early in the week we had a lot of rain. Not so much down by Sioux Falls, maybe a half inch of rain in the Sioux Falls area, but over 2 inches in some areas of northeast South Dakota. And then with the cooler weather this week, it's definitely going to cool water temperatures down quite a bit, and that's going to definitely affect the bite. But this past week, when a lot of people were able to get out, a lot of the fish were cooperating, and honestly, I think a lot of the spawn is pretty much over and done with, as far as even the pike in many areas have already spawned. So keep that in mind, that we're going to be in that post-spawn era as far as the bite is concerned the next week and a half. The lakes that produced walleyes this past week included Waubay, Bitter, and again, the accesses on Bitter are getting a little bit questionable as far as the high water. Other lakes included Opitz, Swan, North Rush, Antelope, Dry Lake by Clark, Enemy Swim, Big Stone, and Lake Alice. And then down the southeastern part of the state, the lakes that produced walleye included Ponset, Thompson, Sinai, Albert, Madison, Brant, Twin Lakes, which is the trophy lake, and then also a few being caught at Campbell, Henry WPA, as well as Clear Lake. And what have guys been using? A lot of jigs and minnows, jigs and plastics, and jigs including the plastics that I have behind me, the Moxies and the Pulsars from Authentics, from Bee Fishing. You're not going to find a bigger supply, a bigger selection of colors than right here at Dakota Angler. So stop on by and pick up your selection of Bee Fishing products that you're going to use this next week. Then as far as the crappie bite is concerned, right now it seems like they're going to be probably spawning this week and even into next week. The lakes that produced crappie this past week included Sinai, Thompson, Ponset, Beaver, Madison, as well as Henry down by Scotland. In this week's version of Todd's Tackle Tips, we're going to continue to talk about the subject we discussed last week, and that's the weather. And the reason why is that we had a lot of great comments and a lot of good questions, and so I want to take this opportunity to answer one of those questions. But before we do that, let's review what we learned last week, so to speak. When the wind is out of the northwest, the pressure is beginning to rise, and it will reach its highest point. When the wind's out of the northwest, pressure rising, that will have the greatest impact upon your fishing, and therefore the fish will hug the bottom, and you have to go out and look for those active fish. That's why a lot of people will start pulling plugs or pulling spinners and bottom bouncers, again, covering more area of the lake. When the pressure is falling, the wind out of the south typically, that means that it has the least impact upon the fish, and the fish will actually be very active. They're looking for food, so the fish will come to you instead of you having to go out looking for the fish. So again, the way to look for those pressure changes is that when the wind switches around to the northwest, the pressure will begin to rise. The greatest impact on your fishing will be felt at the time of the change in the next 24 hours. So keep that in mind. And that's what brings me to this week's question. Basically, I was asked, well, what about if the wind is out of the northwest for the next 2, 3, 4 days, like what we're seeing this week? Well, the thing is, as I just mentioned, the greatest impact to your fishing will be felt at the change. In other words, at the time that it happens and the next 24 to 30 hours after that. After that period of time, the pressure has reached its highest point. It's not going to get any higher. So therefore, it will start to stabilize and even come down a little bit, even though the wind is out of the northwest. Once that happens, the impact upon the fish is going to start to go back to normal. It's going to be minimal at that point in time. They're going to go about their normal routine. So therefore, you can go about your normal routine. In other words, you don't need to go out and pull plugs or go, covering a bunch of water. They're going to start to be more active than what they were the day before. So keep that in mind. Again, the greatest time that the longer period that the pressure remains high, the impacts or the effects will start to be minimized the longer it goes. Also, a lot of times people say, my joints are aching. This is the same principle, folks, that your grandparents or your parents have talked about, even yourself have felt that when the pressure is changing or the weather is changing, it's affecting the amount of fluid in your joints. It's the same concept here, but now we're only talking about fish. So again, there's a lot to learn about how weather can impact and determine your success out on the body of water. And if you have more questions about this topic or would like to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out to me at todd@dakotaangler.com or give us a call at 605-336-9132. Now it's time to take a look at a few photos that you sent in to me this past week. remember, folks, if you'd like your photo included in next week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report, please send it to me. Send it to Todd at DakotaAngler.com or post it to our Facebook wall. And if I use your photo, your name will be entered into a monthly drawing for a $25 gift certificate. And folks, before we end this week's report, I want to remind you that if you can't make it into the store here at Dakota Angler in Sioux Falls, make sure you check us out on the web at DakotaAngler.com. All our inventory is on the web, and so you can shop on the web, shop from the comfort of your home, and place the order, and we'll ship it out to you the next day. So again, if you have any questions about doing that, don't hesitate to give us a call at 605-336-9132. Also a reminder to continue to follow us on social media, whether or not it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. All those are definitely a great way to stay in touch with what is happening right here at the store. Well, folks, that's this week's version of the 2-Minute Fishing Report. For Dakota Angler, I'm the owner, Todd Heitkamp, and as we say around here, fish on! We'll see you next time, and again, thanks for watching, and folks, stay healthy.